Here is because my ministry, Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, like all other ministries, have a duty and a responsibility to contribute to the 15 billion tree growing exercise that was pronounced, became a CAB memo approved by cabinet, and now it's an exercise that the country required to do within this period by 2030, 15 billion trees. That means every ministry has to come up with its own strategy and plan for the planting as a contribution towards achieving the 15 billion trees for reasons that we must deal with the climate change, and therefore strategies to work on adaptation mechanisms, resilience, building livelihoods where they have been destroyed by climate change. The ministry has confirmed to me if we work with a plan consistently, we can contribute 1 billion trees in that particular package, so that our share is 1 billion trees as the Ministry for Water. You know, the next ministry that is really mandated in terms of this particular exercise of 15 billion, or that must be among the leading after the Ministry of Environment, is the Ministry of Water, because we have agreed miti ni maji, leader, miti, leader, maji. Without trees, without forest, then there are no trees. And so this exercise was to launch, this launch today was to make that first step. We have been planting, but we needed to put this to the public so that we can also set pace among other, ministries and the departments and government agencies. We have used a very very approachable, very, very friendly methods in terms of strategy. The women went for the race. They were in the race, the youth, girls and boys, and these other, generations, including women who really are not youth, including carrying, racing with buckets, with the jerry cans on our back. I did that exercise. I don't know, I'm looking for my picture, but it is not an easy exercise to carry a jerry can. And I was going downhill. The one who planned was very kind or strategic, because most of the times you get water from rivers. Rivers are down the valleys, so you actually walk upstream, up the hill, not down the hill. So mine was easy, and it wasn't it wasn't light. It is not light. We need to remove these hardships from our communities, from our women. We want to have, and women also face a lot of challenges when they are going to the rivers. Some are waylaid, some are defiled, small kids. In the process of looking for water, women are still walking for long distances, and that's why we are happy as a ministry to contribute to this particular exercise, because in our strategy to build 100 dams, in our strategy to increase our water storage through harvesting by construction of dams, both mega, medium and small, we will need to return our water catchment areas to their original status. And I know it is doable. Kenyans have dealt with bigger challenges before. I believe if we all work together, ensure you have a water storage in your home, ensure your mother or your wife or your friend or your neighbor or your school has a water storage. That will contribute a lot to the water storage, because we have rains, they go and they leave us dry. So all these strategies are key, are critical, and we have collaboration from the ministries I have mentioned. We will also attend their exercise, because I said it is every ministry's duty and responsibility. And therefore, we are also doing a lot of resource mobilization and calling upon private investors to agree to invest in water. Previously, water was not seen as bankable. We have done our workings and we believe it's one of the commodities that is bankable. Water obviously is a basic right. As we do that, we will cushion the Kenyans from exorbitant prices. I have been misquoted, or people have put words in my mouth before that water will be expensive when we do the dams. I thought that water, when you have more water, water is likely then to go down in terms of pricing. So at no time have we announced or told Kenyans that water will be more expensive. The only thing we must agree is that we must stop the leakages, we must stop the wastage, we must stop water theft, and that's why PS Rono has really pushed the case for, and it has worked, it is working for police unit to deal with these criminals around who vandalize and make some of our water projects their own personal properties, or vandalize for purposes of accessing water through illegal means. As long as you are working within the law, operating within the law, we license you either for a water project or for a borehole. We will give you the permit, we will partner with you, we will guide you where you need technical advice, and therefore tupande miti na tulinde miti. Thank you. First, let me start with that one. The Water Amendment Bill is talking about water purchase agreements. Already in the Act, as it is, and I'm sure you can have a look at that, we are allowed to sell water in bulk. That means when an agency, in partnership with a developer for the water, comes up with the water resource itself, to manage that one beyond the agency, then you need a transaction between the private investor, because this is really catering for the private investor, and including the government, because those projects that are funded by the government are also funded by partners. But we'll also now have purely projects that are privately initiated or privately procured by individual investors. Then we will give them agreements between them and our water development works or agencies. Between that, in that transaction is what, you know, is okay. It is already within the law. But then there is another transaction that we need to capture within the law between the agency and the water service providers. You know, the service providers have not been paying for water, but they sell water. The county governments now have been requested to take full control and mandate of the water service providers so that they can bring in sanity, including efficiency, including governance issues be sorted. Some of them are in debts. That transaction requires to be guided by the law, where then we release bulk water to the water service provider. That is not necessary. That is not a mandate of the county government. We have developed the water. We are giving the county government to then give the provision, water service under the schedule 4. Water service provision and sanitation or sewerage is the mandate of the county government, and that we only deal with that when they request us to support. And once we support, they are still the ones who will follow by making sure the meter is in place. We're asking them to to change the meters, to change the systems, so that the leakages that are making the country lose 50% of any water that we develop, 50% is either stolen, lost, or not accounted for. And this is water that has been developed using Kenyan taxpayers' money. So at no point are we taking their mandate. I hope that is clear. Eucalyptus, through our water resource agency, we have awareness creation, and we have obviously our forestry department also under environment has species, you know, the trees that do not need too much water and do not affect our water. And it is not an easy exercise, but so far I believe there is the plan is to let people understand what seedlings, and then also give out as many seedlings as possible for replacement of the eucalyptus. We don't have penalties yet. I think going forward, we may have then to look at the regulations so that if you continue planting the trees that are not suitable, then we may have to deal with that legally. In terms of Bosto Dam, I can confirm that we are in a good place. The designs are all ready. The people have been waiting for this dam. We are now finalizing on our resource mobilization to be able to come and do the dam. There is no question about not doing it. I don't want you to tie me with the time, but it is a matter of urgency and a priority for the ministry. It will not be the old story of 10 years, 5 years, whatever. It's going to be in the immediate. It's one of the dams that are likely to go among the first in terms of the launching of the new dams. And that I can confirm to the residents of Bomet. It will supply sufficient. I think the water we get from Bosto Dam is likely to deal with our water challenges in this particular county and give a bit to Kericho, Sotik areas and Kapkatet, those particular areas. But Bomet, first priority will be Bomet.
I think it's safe.
Sorry very much.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Has answered everything.